All right, good morning, good evening. Let's get started. We're going to talk about what's happening this week. And again, we're going to take the three instruments, and I'm also going to take a look at two stocks, kind of give an overview of what's going on in the market, as well as look at two stocks. Because I did get a request from two of my fellow YouTube commenters, and they had requested me to provide you two analysis of two stocks. And so I'll do that at the end. After we review the three futures, I'll go over the stock, and stay tuned. I will show you the two stocks that we're talking about, and you probably already know from the title of this YouTube video. And with that, let's get started. Let me go ahead and change my screen here and see if I can. I don't know if it's going to be easier to just. Yeah, I think this is probably easier. Okay. Yeah, let me just do that instead of switching screens. I am going to go ahead and get right into it. So let me make this a little bit bigger. And so we are looking at the Dow future. Okay. What happened last week? You'll see, by the way, we're getting close to future expiration. Okay. So people are going to start rolling over into the new future, which is going to be the December future. So keep that in mind. The next 2 weeks, we have to be careful on which instrument you're trading. Obviously, 923 is the current futures instrument that's being traded, and then after that it's going to be 1223. So just keep that in mind. This week, you want to try to start rolling over. If you have open positions, try to get yourself switched over and rolled over to the new future, okay, before it expires. We can talk about expiration. If you guys have any specific questions related to that, I'll make a video on it. Just make sure you comment on this and let me know, and I'll go ahead and make a video and explaining what you need to do to roll over. Okay, so with that said, let's start with the Dow. Okay, so the YM futures. Okay, so over here you can see, I have the Bollinger Bands lined up. Let me actually, you know what, let me keep that. I have the Bollinger Bands up, and I have the MACD up. Let me see if I can add the RSI. It might be good. I know most of you add this as well. And let me do the RAM indicator. Okay. RSI is not showing much, but with that, let's go ahead. Let's get started. Okay, so what do we have here? Remember the other day we talked about fibs. Let me actually add the fibs here as well, so you guys have an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get them added over here. As I add these, you should see what's happening, right? Based on my past couple of videos. Remember, this number, 23.6 and 38.2, pretty critical points that it always tries to gravitate towards. Even the 61.8 is pretty important if you're going the other way. Same exact concept, but majority of the time those three numbers are where the price action usually navigates and always tries to go towards. When I put this over here, you can see what we talked about the other day is we had a couple of downturns, and then we knew that it was going to go back and gravitate towards this number as long as there's another higher high that sticks, right? We had already reached this, and then we were looking at possibly making a tracement back up to the highs. That's the ultimate position that we're looking at here, maybe possibly retouching that. And if it doesn't happen, one of the things I want you to keep in mind when you're looking at the Bollinger Band is this is your mid band right here. and it's gone below the mid band. So now what it's got to do is it's got to stay below this in order to continue downwards. So next few days, if it retouches this mid band and it doesn't move itself back up to the upper band, then we know it's going to go further down. So that's one scenario that we're looking at. Next few days, if it touches this, it doesn't cross up and close above it, then what we're looking below, then we're looking at continuous downward pressure, right? And this could build onto that. So just keep an eye on that. So there is some downward momentum here. Keep an eye on this, please. That's what we're looking at. Now, if there's other news that's going to break this on the upward trend, you have to keep an eye on that. But as you do that, just keep in mind that there's some resistance over here. So if it does touch the top, it has to break through those resistance lines before it can continue on an upward trend. So if you're on a swing position looking to try to exit or roll over, next few days are critical in terms of what you want to do, whether you want to roll over, exit out, take profit, or take a loss, whatever it may be. Let me know. Hit me on the comments and let me know what position you guys are on, and I would like to see if anybody is doing any swing trades on the YM, which is the Dow. So let's go and take a look at the S&P Mini. See what's going on over here. Get rid of a lot of these diagrams here. Alright, so we got the RAM, we got the Bollinger, we got the MACD, the RSI, we got some price levels. Let me remove some of these so we can talk about it. Alright, so what do we got? this is on a daily chart. We have the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and again, same thing. You see this line right over here. We're looking at coming close to the expiration, so just got to keep in mind if you're in a position that's needs to exit or roll over, just be careful of that. And let's take a look at where the price is currently. Right now, market hasn't opened yet. It's a Sunday afternoon. Just wanted to kind of get this out there so that you guys have an idea of what's happening this week. You have some time to look at it. Over the past few months, you'll notice, even the last year, it's been on a trend upwards, right? You constantly see this channel going up, which is fine, right? But as you can see, there's been times where it's breaking the higher highs, come down, but then it continues to break up, right? And now we're at this critical junction where it's made a lower high, just like the YM, but it's also trying to form a higher low. So compared to this, so we want to be careful of where this is going, right? Especially coming into October. And let's add the fibs on this one as well, and see what numbers where the lines show up. Okay. So let me actually get this. All right. So we saw the 23.6 being touched here, and it's taken a ride up. We have the RAM indicator. It's gone below the RAM, and on the Bollinger, you'll see that it's actually staying above the mid band. So it's trying to go up because the mid band is trying to hold it, and so we want to be mindful of that specific area. As long as this stays, the next portion of the price control is going to be trying to navigate towards the RAM indicator and then gravitates toward the upper band. That's the ultimate decision right here. If it doesn't hold and this mid-band breaks, we're looking at back down over here, back to this line, which is the 23.6 on the fib, right? And which has a bunch of support area, right? Like you see this, that becomes your support lines. And actually, this has been the previous low in the last couple of days. And if it does, it'll try to go and try to break this. Okay. If this mid band doesn't hold, then it's going to try and break and go down over here. And this is the support, the next set of support. You have another one over here. That is also, a good support area, right? And as long as it holds, this is going to be a good buy area, which then it'll ride itself up for a few handles if you wanted to ride that. But if it doesn't hold, then you're looking at the next downward leg, which is the next, the 38.2 on the fibs. And that coincides with a lot of these highs right here, right? So this area is where you're going to find support. And it may bounce. If it continues down over here, it may bounce up from that area. So that's what's happening. But we have this mid-band holding it. However, look at the MACD. On the MACD, what we're seeing is we've got the values below the zero line, and it's on a downward slope. When you're looking at this downward slope, there's a possibility of them crossing each other, and if that does, there's going to be a possibility of it going downwards, or it can simply do one of these where it crosses and then comes back down, and it crosses and comes back down. You don't know, right? So you want to be able to keep that in mind where even though it's below zero, and that's why you don't always just rely on one indicator, right? Be mindful of just solely relying on this, right? Because you want to kind of take all of the information as a whole and be mindful of that and make a decision based on that. You don't want to simply just be like, oh, look, it's about to cross. But if it doesn't cross and then takes its way back up above the zero line, then you're on the wrong side. Okay, so just be careful on that. And we got the highs over here. We got this as a support. We talked about this, and that's where we're at on the ES. Let's take a look at the NQ. Okay. Okay, I did a couple of trades. Let me hide the trades. Give me a second. All right. Okay. So what do we have here? We got the Bollinger Band. It's above the mid band. Look at that. The RAM indicator held it in. You see how it touched, and then boom, it went back down. So it's going to try to fight that. Between the RAM and you got the mid band, it's going to try to fight and see which way it wants to go. The MACD is showing a downward slope, so there's some room for it to try to break this mid band and go on its downward slope towards down here. That's what it's looking at. All right, you had this high, you know, the past few days, and it's had a leg down, and what's happening is it's trying to slope down. Okay, let's look at the fibs real quick and see what the fibs are showing, so we know. Okay, so we got the highs over here, which is going to try to break if it tries to continue upwards. We've got this momentum of upward trend. However, I see that this trend is going to be broken right around here. And now, most likely, it's trying to go down, right? That's what it's looking at, because it made a lower high, and we're trying to fight it out over here. And this is the support area where it might try to go down towards. Again, with the other, just like the other two, we got the support area. If it breaks, continue downwards, and then see where it goes next spot up. Now, we talked about the MACD. We don't know. It has crossed over, right? However, look at this. You got the slope going downwards on the green candles, these green bars, right? So always be mindful of that. If you see a spike of it crossing this up, that's fine. But we did notice that here we had a higher high than the previous highs, right? Which, so if you look at it, you're over here and it went down. But then this one seems to have a bigger, stronger, prominent mountain versus this one. So there's a chance we want to see, okay, why is there an arbitrage here, right? Why do we see a bigger mountain versus this? Take a look at this and see if it's going to break the previous highs, right? And that's what we wanted to look at and see if that mountain gets broken. It might just come down over here and try to slip up and go up. So that's where this might become a support area. Like this right here might become a support for the time being. And it may ride it up and try to break this high. Okay. That's the ultimate play here the next few days. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be next few weeks volatility week because of the futures being rolled over. So a lot of volatility going on between when people exit, trying to exit, re-enter, rolling over. Sometimes people want to just exit out and not roll over. That may be the case, we don't know. And you have expiration of options as well. So that plays a big role. Okay, so those were the three futures discussion that we've just had. Now let's go take a look at the two stocks that I'm going to be talking about. Now, if you don't mind, I would love for you guys to comment and let me know which stocks, if you wanted me to analyze. I'd be happy to analyze if I get enough comments on which particular stock or instrument that you want me to kind of do an analysis on. I can. I'll take a few minutes. Maybe I'll upload a video on it. And so, with that said, I think one of the biggest ones I got was Tesla. So let's talk about Tesla and see what's going on with Tesla. And similarly, we're going to look at it the same exact way, right? You're not going to see a smooth bar chart like you do with the futures, only because there's different types of traders involved with stocks and futures. Not every retail investor trades futures. Okay, so let's take a look. All right. So in the past few months, in fact, it's been a year. This chart shows we've had a high all the way over here. We had a low over here. If we wanted to go ahead and put the fibs that I usually talk about, at least this from a retracement perspective, let's see what's going on. Okay. Now, let's see what happened here. The 23, it's hovering around the 23.6. But look what had happened. From the high to low, if I had put it over here on that day, it went back down to 23, hit it, right? You knew that it was going to hit that. And it went down to the 38.2. And as well, but not as prominent as this. It didn't go as high as this, right? So because it didn't go high as this, right? Let me just draw this line over here. What ended up happening when it hit the high right around here? It went back down. Right? Sure, it went up a few days, but ultimately it went back down, right? Because you, at this point, I'm sure you'll remember, if you talk about when you listen to my other videos, I always look at anything above 15 as an area for short. and then this is probably the good area to short. But then look at this mountain versus this mountain. This was the high of the previous mountain. I call it the mountain because it's easier to explain to an average investor. Alright, so for some reason the buyers have fizzled down. They are not aggressively buying like they were here and like they were over here. Okay, so ultimately you see this arbitrage, like you have seen this going up, but then there's not enough buyers, not enough firepower for these guys, and it's making a lower high compared to this. So we're looking at some pressure downwards for real. This is going to be a pressure downwards, especially when you see the RAM holding it like this. Okay, so that's what Tesla is, and then the other stock is DDOG, Datadog. Okay, so Datadog. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so I had commented a while back around this time. I said that I think it was right around over here, and the target was over here. It did end up making it, and it went well beyond that number. And then there's a whole bunch of sellers that came in. But anyways, let's see where it's going on now. I have not seen this in the past couple of months in detail, like the way I did previously. But on this particular day, I did go over it, but I didn't do a great in-depth analysis on this. And so I'm doing it now. And so what do we see here? We have the Bollinger Band. There must have been some news here because earnings season probably blew this away. And that's probably why it went down like catastrophically, right? Now, there was, I think I talked about this where it had crossed over the RAM, this buying opportunity, and certainly did that. There was some opportunity of this cross to purchase right over here during this cross, and that made a huge profit. However, this is your high right now. I don't think it's going to make it back to this high, just because I'm sure there's some news out there about this. I don't even know. Let's see. Datadog unusual option activity. Buy on Datadog. Okay. Outperform ratings. So maybe that's, I don't technically follow news. I don't like following news when I'm trading. I'm all about technical because there could be a lot of fake news articles out there, and people are just trying to pump and dump with snippets of news, trying to get people to push the stock in a direction, and I don't want to listen to any of those things. I'd rather just pay attention to what price action shows. I sometimes could be wrong, and that's perfectly fine, and that's why we have stops and risk factors and risk markers on your trades. And in this case, now you have this as a support area. Okay. You have the price right over around here that made the mid band on the Bollinger support it, and that's crossed up. It's on its way back up to the RAM indicator. I am pretty sure that this is going to hold it in, especially because you have the upper band right around here. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some resistance here. You certainly want to be mindful of that. If you have a position from here, you're in a profit, you might want to take some because it might come back down. One thing I do notice, again, mountain, smaller mountain, smaller mountain. So buyers are going away. So keep that in mind. Fibs, I don't like fibs on stocks, but I do put them anyways. like I did with Tesla. So what do we got here? Once it hit the high, it's going to come back definitely 23. It did. It held it, but the news broke out, brought it way back down here. Then what happened? It's going to try to go back to the 38.2, and now it's hovering around 38.2. This needs to hold in order for it to go back up to 104, which is the 23.6. Okay. So what are we doing? We're just holding. I think in this space, there's a chance that it may go up to this area. And if you're in a profit, take it, because I don't see it going back all the way to 118 anytime soon. It may take some time. So just be careful. That's my take on Datadog. If you have any other stocks that you want to have an analysis done on this, let me know. I'll be happy to do it. Certainly, Datadog is something that I probably wouldn't get into right now, just because I don't see a value in it for me. I don't see any clear indication that I would want to get in. I see this upward trend on the MACD. If it crosses the 0 line, maybe I would do maybe a short. I'm sorry, not a short, a long, if it goes above, and take a few handle profits, maybe a few dollar profits, but that's about it. I don't think this thing is going to go back up to 117 anytime soon, just because of this big drop, and buyers are not there. Keep in mind. All right, with that said, if you guys have any comments, questions, if something I misinterpreted, let me know. I will try to clear it up. If you didn't understand it, give me a shout out, like this video, and make sure you subscribe to the video, to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want, if you're using NinjaTrader, and if you want my desktop, I'd be happy to share this with you. A lot of the things on this screen, I do it as a holistic, top down, taking a step back look at what's happening overall, right? I mean, if you're looking at the NQs, the MNQs, I like to look at it from far away just to see where it's going, because if I'm trading on the 1 minute, right, I am actually gonna look at it and see, if it's something that I'm gonna hold on to it for a few minutes, or if I'm gonna look at it and exit out after an hour. Something like this I see over here, and you got some, I don't know if you guys trade on ranges, but that's something that I also look at, the Renko bars. I look at Renko bars a lot as well. And some of the things that I like to do on the Renko bars is, put in these support and resistance lines. When you do that, you know exactly how long you're going to be in the trade for, and approximately when you want to get them out, get out, right? I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry. But depending on how fast you trade, how much you want to trade, you can put in these resistance lines and support lines and kind of guide you through your trade scenarios. A lot of the times, the Heiken energy really helps with some of the trading technologies that I use. That helps. I mean, you have these sonars, XT patterns. I don't know if you do the. I don't know if okay, maybe I should explain that in a video. I will. One of these days, I'll explain how to use these fibs. But majority of my students, as well as partners and friends, they don't know how to use this. It's very complicated for them, so I don't show them. But please, again, love to hear from you. Leave me a comment and give me a stock to analyze, and I'm happy to do it. Thank you again. PriceIsKing.com.